everyone. I'm here with Jake McKenzie, who is widely regarded as the best Canadian ever. Brasileiros, Masters Worlds, South American, Abu Dhabi World Pro, you name it. But also, while I'm down here in Halifax, I trained for 3 days, and I think we probably did 10 rounds together. So, not only do you get to come here and train, but he will take the time to do rounds with you. Too many rounds, maybe some would say. It was very punishing, so I'm going to show you guys the roll, and he's also going to show me something, which he would say, I guess, is like the biggest mistake or the biggest gap in my learning from our roll.
I really want to thank you. I really appreciate you coming down to train, and I appreciate getting into the video with you guys as well. And anybody that's in Halifax, I'd love for you guys to come to the gym and come and roll.
All right, everyone, the roll begins with me trying not to get pulled into his deep half. So I try to stay as far away as possible. I use my elbow and his hip to block his top leg from coming in. And here he grabs that cross sleeve. So I kind of knew it was coming a little bit because he was teaching it earlier in that day. And you can see he was trying to weave his left knee inside, and ultimately I end up back in his half guard. As I exit and I put my knee on his hip, he forces me into this game, which is just so hard to stop. He kind of scissors his legs, which eats my knee, and then he creeps his way out to the back. Kind of lets me play a little bit here, and then he's super strong from that end position. From the close guard, he does love to play that overhook game, and I try to copy his strategy where he does a Sao Paulo pass. But I already know when I get swept, my arm is now over-isolated, and he hits me with the mirror lock. That was one of maybe 37 over 3 days. I'm trying to kind of create some elevation here. I always play with my butterfly hook and or De La Riva, and you can see he's not really giving me any grips. It's hard to control his sleeve and tuck his arm in for a sweep. So I try to use that lapel feed to collapse his elbow. And the thing about his game that makes it so challenging is that he goes from heavy pressure to loose hip switch. From here, I'm trying to use that butterfly hook to push his leg across and maybe take the back, but you can see he's actually using his free foot to at least stress and or clear my butterfly hook, because if I can shift his weight across my midline, then I can possibly pursue or take his back. Here I have a somewhat decent position with the underhook, and I'm able to build up to my elbow a little, and he controls my top leg knee so that I can't get close enough, and he melts his hip to the ground to ultimately secure the pass. I tried to sit up and maybe chase the back, but because he was controlling my legs, there wasn't much I could do here. In the next clip, you just see some absolutely beautiful but basic staple work. Staples me with his left leg, hip switches, and closes the space before landing right into a wrist lock for me, unfortunately. Something he did so nicely was a tempo switch. You can see he already has live toes, and as soon as I shift my hips out to a neutral angle, he switches his hips to the right, clears his foot. So it's that independent movement from the knee joint and from the hips through that rotation that just makes it so challenging to follow. This next sequence is the one that he hit on me probably the most amount of times. He punches his close side underhook, which is actually one of the first things he showed me. And then he'll use his left leg to bite and kind of neutralize my leg. And I've kind of played it here from two angles. You can see right there, it kills my legs, locks my hips into the wrong direction, and that underhook is just so awful that you really can't do anything. And I just played in one more clip here where he does it again. Look how tight my elbow is, and he creeps in his underhook, and you can see right there my elbow is now flared open, disconnected from my hip. And now he's going to walk me across, and just like before, he's going to cinch on my underhook. You can see he closes his elbow tight on it, and then he'll use his left leg again, which twists my knee inwards and locks my hips in the wrong position to get that pass. So that was another one of those moves he did to me many, many times. He really liked those hip switches, and every time his foot would kind of come off the ground and his hands got heavy, I would be really wary of it, and there it is right on cue. His hip rotates out, his shin pummels, and his foot draws a circle, and he finishes with that nice knee behind my butt, almost like a tight leg drag position, like a low side control, which I thought was so nice. I had to just throw up a little gang sign there to show him that even though my body was beaten, my spirit was not.
But a lot of times, more times than not, you're gonna be here, like you're gonna be able to pass this pretty quick. So I pass this over top of my leg, is if you put this leg up and you're in a good base. Here, what I wanna do is I'm gonna think about using my leg like a leg press mechanic. So I'm gonna go like here. So kind of just under your floating rib. My other hand, I'm just gonna put on my lapel. Now, what I'm gonna think about trying to do is lift you and force you to put your hand to the floor. So as I lift here, I can really extend this leg and kind of keep you at this range where it's uncomfortable, right? So when I can manage the distance here, all I'm gonna do is point my toes like a ballerina. I'm gonna pull this in and I'm gonna go to the hip. That's one thing that's really important. I learned this from Keenan, is just maintaining the sole of the foot on the hip rather than sticking my leg all the way through. Every time you touch my foot, I just do this. I give a little pull. So you put the hand on the ground, right? And then from here, it's just gonna be your basic worm attacks. Whether you like to, you know, go shin to shin, here, boom. I go here for the reverse, or a lot of times what I prefer to do is, if I can, we'll do this. I'll set my hand first, and then set this, jump, I put my butt back into the legs. If the guy's here and he's starting to put pressure on me, here, I can always just think about going like 1, 2, extend, maintain my pressure, step to the foot here. If the guy postures up here a little bit, I'm always thinking about like trying to create my angle. I step, I hop the knee line, sweep, and then I go butt back in too. That's another thing. A lot of guys, when they sweep here, they stay square, and you're gonna go single leg X on me, right? So I just think about me sitting on top of your IT band this way, and it'll really shut you down.
You know, in your perspective, what do you think brought you to this level where so many Canadians, I think, didn't really break into the upper echelon? Like, how did you get so far ahead, and what did you do? What's the two-part?
I think just I knew, especially like I had really good resources in Nova Scotia, and I'm extremely grateful for all the people that I train with. I learned a lot of my base here, but I just think that I just knew that I wouldn't get to the level that I wanted to get to, where I was at the time that I was training.
But from just a student perspective, like, you know, tons of people go to Brazil,
Sure.
but like so few, you know, win Brasileiros for it, or, you know,
Sure.
what makes you break into that upper layer?
I just kind of burned my boats, right? Like I went there, I lived in Brazil for 12 years, I lived in a gym for 3 years, I lived in Cyborg's gym for 2.5 years, you know, where you're roughing it to a certain extent, like you're sleeping on the mats, you know, and I think I just really tried to immerse myself in the deepest rooms possible that I had access to. And another thing is like the amount of tournaments I would do. Like I had tournaments, I'd always had a goal to do 30 tournaments in a year, and I never achieved that goal, but I got close a couple of times. I had a couple of years where I did 26 tournaments, 28 tournaments. I was consistently, when I got to black belt, I was doing 20 tournaments, the majority of them in Brazil at the time. It just gave me a lot of experience. So I think that experience really helps those Brazilian guys when they go to the, you know, if they go to the World Championships, or the Pan Ams, or the American Nationals, these bigger tournaments in the States, they're coming to those tournaments with, you know, 400 or 500 matches at black belt, right? So I think that just makes you really savvy and really ready for those big moments, right? If you're up on points and there's a little bit of time left, you're not going to fumble the ball when you get to those spots, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for being
Thank you,
so
man. My
gracious.
pleasure. Thank
And
you.
just one last thing. What time is it? It is now 3 o'clock, and class started at 12. So he's basically stayed here a lot longer than the end of class, and this is what I'm talking about. Like when you come to the East Coast and you train here, I think like this is what you can expect. So thank you so much.
Thank you, man. My pleasure.